Play back a voicemail of yourself. Odds are you'll cringe. Your voice comes back thin, higher than you expected, a bit wrong. That's not me, you think. But nobody else hears it that way. To them, that's just you. And it has nothing to do with a bad microphone. You have two voices, and you've only ever heard the wrong one. The people who know you best would swear that recording is you. And they're right. Out of everyone you know, you're the one person who has never really heard your own voice. The warm, familiar version you hear in your head, the one reading these words to you right now, is the one that isn't real. To see why, start with how sound normally reaches you. Someone across the table talks. The air carries their voice as a wave. It slips into your ear and it taps your eardrum. Air in, sound heard. That's the only way their voice can reach you, and it's the only way a microphone can hear it too. A microphone is just another listener sitting out in the air. Now you talk. Your voice takes that same air route out and around into your own ears. But it also takes a second route that nobody else gets. The sound travels straight up through the bones of your jaw and skull and reaches your inner ear directly, without ever touching the air. It's called bone conduction, your own voice carried through your own head. And bone carries sound differently than air does. It's good at passing low notes and bad at passing high ones. You already know this sound. It's your neighbor's music through the wall. The bass thumps right through, and the tune on top goes muffled. Your skull does the same thing to your voice. It keeps the low, warm frequencies and drops the sharp, high ones. And it adds that warmth to every word you say, for an audience of exactly one. A microphone can't hear any of that. It's out in the air with everyone else, so it only catches the thinner, air-only version of your voice. Play it back, and it sounds higher and sharper and wrong. Your first guess is that the recording got it wrong. It didn't, and this is the part that matters. The recording is the honest one. That thinner voice is what actually leaves your body and reaches every person you've ever spoken to. It's what your friends hear. It's what your family hears. The warm version, the one you'd pick out of a lineup as you, has never once left your head. The voice you think of as most yours is the one voice nobody else has ever heard. Before we get to why that voice bothers you, which turns out to be a separate puzzle, there are two more things worth knowing about it. First, this whole problem is newer than you'd think. For almost all of human history, nobody had it, because nobody could. Until 1877, when Thomas Edison spoke into a hand-cranked machine and played his own words back, no person had ever heard their voice from the outside. Every singer, every teacher, every leader who ever won over a room, they all lived and died without once knowing what they truly sounded like to everyone else. You are one of the first people who even can. Second, a recording leaves out more than the bass. You don't only hear your own voice, you feel it. Say a few words with your hand on your chest, and you'll feel the buzz in your ribs and your throat. Pavo Orepic and his team have shown that this feeling is part of how you know your own voice at all. To you, it was never only a sound. It was a sound plus a feeling in your body. A recording keeps the sound and drops the feeling, which is also why you sound a bit off on a phone call, and why you can never pick your own voice out of a recording of a noisy room. You're always listening for the warm one, and it was never there. Case closed? For real this time? Your skull sweetens your voice, the microphone tells the truth, the one in your head is the remix. Except it isn't closed. Because if this were only about frequencies, the recording would just sound unfamiliar, like a new person's voice. And a new voice doesn't bother you. You meet people all the time without cringing. But your own recording is different. It isn't just surprising, it's embarrassing. A small flush of shame with nobody even watching. That's the part we set aside, and the frequencies can't explain it. So why do we hate it? The answer has almost nothing to do with sound, and it took one plain little experiment and a tape recorder to find out. 1966, at a clinic in Kansas, two researchers, Philip Holzman and Clyde Rousey, did the simplest thing you can imagine. They recorded people's voices, played them back, and watched. What they saw wasn't mild surprise. It was distress. People tensed up, they pulled faces, some flat out insisted the tape had been messed with. Holzman and Rousey called it voice-confrontation, and their idea went further than pitch. A recording, they said, doesn't just play back your words, It plays back the feelings underneath them, the nerves, the flatness, the small edge in your tone, the parts of yourself you send out to everyone else all day without ever hearing them. Then a recording plays them back, and for the first time, you're hearing what everyone else already has. For about 50 years, that was the answer. We hate the recording because it's honest, and honest is uncomfortable. It's a good answer. Then, in 2013, two psychologists complicated it with a cleverer question. Susan Hughes and Marissa Harrison gathered a pile of voice recordings and asked people to rate them, just how good each voice sounded. What the raters didn't know was that their own voice was in the pile, unlabeled, mixed in with the strangers. Now, if we simply hated the sound of our recorded voice, the result is easy to guess. People should rank their own near the bottom. That's not what happened. Not knowing it was theirs, people rated their own voice higher than the strangers rated it, and higher than they rated everyone else. Blind, with no idea, we don't dislike our recorded voice. We like it best. Which turns the whole question around. The sound was never the problem. If it were, the cringe would show up whether or not you knew it was you. Instead, it waits and shows up at one exact moment, the moment you recognize the voice as your own. So it isn't the sound, and it isn't even the quality, it's who it belongs to. Your whole life, you've built a sense of yourself around the warm voice in your head. Robert Science gave the reason a name, the mere exposure effect. The more often you meet something, the more you like it, just for being familiar. It's why a song you didn't care about grows on you by the 10th time it's on the radio. And you have heard your inside voice more than any other sound on earth, far more than any song. Of course, it feels like home. Then the recording introduces you to the other one, the voice every friend and every stranger has actually been hearing all along. It isn't worse. Blind, remember, you liked it more. It's just not the one you got used to. So the cringe isn't the sound of a bad voice. It's the gap between the person you thought you were putting out into the world and the person the world has been hearing. Everyone who has ever loved you fell for the recording, the thin one, the one you'd delete. When your voice made someone laugh or calmed them down or talked them round, it was the outside voice doing it every time. The warm one in your head has never reached another person. So the real you, the one other people actually meet, lives outside your own ears. That stranger on the voicemail is a stranger to just one person on Earth. Everyone else simply calls it your voice. Maybe give that stranger a chance next time a recording plays. Everyone you know already has. You're just the last one to be introduced. And one more thing before you go. Your voice isn't the only thing your brain hands you its own private version of. It does the same with your memories and with your sense of time. The you it shows you is a version, and every week here we pull on one more thread of it.